I'm with AWN. I'm a new MilSpouse here at Fort Bliss, Texas. Today, I want to talk to y'all about the importance of advocating for yourself in the medical world, especially with military healthcare. I'll share kind of a scary thing that happened to me and how I had to medically advocate literally for my life. So TRICARE, for those who don't know, is the health insurance given to military service members and their dependents. And there are three choices of TRICARE, and they serve either active duty, reserve, retired, or surviving families. And the main one is TRICARE Prime. Most people are on it. About 4.7 million beneficiaries are on that one. And the other two are TRICARE Select, which about 2 million are on, and TRICARE for Life, which about 2.5 million. I am personally on Prime, and it's great because this healthcare plan, it costs basically zero, especially if you're active duty. And if you do happen to pay out of pocket on the rare occasion, the max catastrophic cap is $1,000. So that's great, right? Well, the downside to that is I don't have complete say in my primary care manager because that's the person that I would have to go through to get any referrals to other doctors, such as specialists. And with that, you don't really have much of a say in those doctors unless you really, really advocate for a different doctor. So stick with me here. You just got through the boring numbers and the healthcare options. And you might be thinking, why does this matter? Who cares? You might be pretty healthy, and you might have barely, if at all, talked to your primary care manager, or PCM for short. And that would be if you're on TRICARE Prime, you would have to do that. And when I got my military dependent ID, which gives you the TRICARE information, I didn't think much about it at all. I had just turned 23, I was healthy, I barely got a cold, much less anything serious. And I never reached out to my PCM at all, like at all. And why would I? There wasn't anything wrong. But last August, within 1 week, my health changed drastically. I was finishing my degree in College Station, Texas, about an hour and a half away from Houston. And my husband was training at Fort Benning, and I was swimming with my best friend at her apartment complex. And my left calf started cramping really bad. It wasn't small cramps, it was Charlie horse size cramping for like 10 to 15 minutes. I brushed it off. It was nothing. I mean, we were swimming, cramping can be normal, sure. But just a couple days after that, my left leg from my hip to my knee started feeling really tight. And it seemed to be explained. I was in the middle of boxing up our apartment for our first duty station at Fort Bliss. And not long after that, the tightness turned to extreme shooting pain, all the way from my hip down to my feet. Silly me. I thought that this was because I didn't go to the chiropractor for a while, and I've been boxing heavy items. Well, the next day, this was a few days after I went swimming and felt the cramps, I was looking down at my legs, and I noticed that my left leg looked a little bit swollen. And I measured it, it was a little bit, but it was on a Sunday, and I had no idea about TRICARE approved areas near me. I was nowhere near a base. So I thought, I'll be fine, I'll wait till tomorrow. Surely this is something that the chiropractor can fix. Well, even though I waited, I did have a gut feeling to start researching TRICARE approved ERs near me. Very thankful that I did, because I found an approved hospital just a couple minutes down my street. And so I slept on it just to see how I would feel in the morning. But it got much worse. And in the middle of the night, around 3 in the morning, I woke up in such unbearable pain. I couldn't walk on my leg without collapsing and crying, and my leg was extremely swollen. I mean, at this point, it was very discolored, and a picture will be posted in the comments. Viewer discretion advised. You'll see how swollen it was, and that was not very pretty. And since my husband was still training at Fort Benning and everyone was asleep, I mean, it was 3 a.m., I decided to literally hop to my car in my PJs, and I drove myself to the hospital. And I hobbled my way, super painfully, to the ER, and I immediately got put into a wheelchair. So I got seen right away. I mean, it was 3 a.m. And my blood was taken, 2 unhelpful doses of morphine later, and the ER staff decided to take an ultrasound on my leg. As the technician was doing it, I mean, she immediately told me that I had a blood clot, a very large blood clot in a major vein all the way from my groin to my knee. What? A blood clot? How does that even happen? And with it being that size, how did I not go into the hospital or worse before that? And second of all, how does someone my age even get a blood clot? I mean, it doesn't make sense. 23 years old, not overweight, I don't smoke. It was crazy. But I was in the hospital for 4 days, and the doctor told me that it was because of my birth control pills. It was the only thing that made sense to anyone. And with this clot being so big, I mean, the biggest concern was that it would break off and go to heart, brain, lungs. So it was pretty scary to think about it. And it really caused a lot of stress for myself, and especially for the people I love. I think more so for the people that I love. And on top of this stress, I couldn't help but think how expensive it all would be. At that time, I had no idea that TRICARE would cover the expenses. But you hear horror stories, You hear horror stories about thousands and thousands of dollars just stacking up every day that you are in the hospital. And my thought was, crap, we cannot afford this. So those thoughts came in, the stress of this life-endangering thing. I just had to remind myself that things are going to get better. God is going to take care of it. So right before I went into a complete panic mode, there was a little bit of panic, I just decided to use my social work degree, use the things that I was taught in that, and start focusing on the positives. And so I decided to be thankful for the people and the blessings around me. I mean, one of the biggest rock stars during that time was my mom. She came over from Houston. It was an 1.5-hour drive in the middle of the night. I mean, she answered her phone right away. She was at my side the whole time until my husband got there. She helped me walk to the restroom, which felt like a marathon, and she even washed my hair for me. So I'm very thankful for her. My husband, he was able to leave Fort Benning to be with me, and he took great care of me. My best friend, Erin, visited me a few times, brought me a lot of goodies and fun things. So I had these great things surrounding this. I realized just how loved I was, and that there were blessings in this crazy time. So listeners, if you're in a crisis situation like this, you might be scared for your life, someone else's life, or you're in a financial situation, just a super stressful time, try to take a step back. Remember all of these blessings in your life. And it's easy for me to say that because when you're in the middle of going through all of this, it is so difficult to slow down and do that, especially during a giant crisis. So just know that you're gonna get through it, and there are people out there who can help you. So for me, I focused on the loving people that was around me and continue to help me through this situation. I mean, even when I got to Fort Bliss, I had my battle buddy, Marin, help me, and Sharita, our owner and commander at Army Wife Network. I mean, they went to doctor's appointments with me. It was amazing. So by focusing on the positives, realizing I'm not in control of this crazy thing we call life. I'm not. I just have to go through it like a roller coaster. And laughter is truly the best medicine in these situations. One night, I'm pretty sure it was the last night I was in the hospital. My husband was there, my friend was there, my sister-in-law. They were visiting one evening, and we were just having fun, just cutting up. And the nurse came in and said, it sounded like a party. So spirits were high. I was able to take this roller coaster, take it for the ups and downs when life comes. And to be honest, it is okay to scream on the downs of the roller coasters in life. I know I was during that time. Anyways, so I got out of the hospital. I was on blood thinners, finished up my degree, moved to Fort Bliss. I got here. I actually contacted my primary care manager for the first time ever, got a referral for a hematologist oncologist who can deal with my blood clot. And by the time I had an appointment with that doctor, it was 6 months from the initial hospitalization. I felt better, but when I did exercise, I had shown some symptoms that it could possibly be there. So had my appointment with the doctor. I got in his office and I was gonna tell him, all right, I'm gonna get another ultrasound. Well, I got there and he said that I did not have a blood clot. Okay, but how? How did he know that? He didn't look at my ultrasounds. He didn't have any facts from what he was saying, other than an ultrasound would be useless unless I was showing symptoms. And I told him, when I exercise, it still swells, it hurts. But he said it was due to a different reason. It wasn't because of my blood clot. So during that appointment, I asked him 3 different times to get an ultrasound. I was really, really pushing for it, and he kept brushing it off, brushing it off, brushing it off. And so I asked for blood work to be done, and I want to make sure that I didn't have a clotting disorder, because you just never know, and I didn't want this to come back, obviously. So he brushed that off as well and just said, if I get pregnant, I'll need to let my doctor know. And that was it. So I got sent out the door, and I was really confused because I was going, okay, I've been taught, well, I thought it's best to just listen to your doctor. So I listened to him and I thought, I don't have a blood clot. Okay, yay. I'm just gonna take this little glimmer of hope because of what he told me. I'm gonna blast it on Facebook. I am blood clot free. I'm all good. I threw my blood thinners away because I was so done at that point. But unfortunately, a few days later, I went on a short hike. I mean, a very short hike. It was 2, maybe 3 miles with my friend and battle buddy, Marin, and my leg swelled up. I mean, it hurt so bad during the whole hike. I trekked the whole way, but my leg was actually hurting for a few days after it. Something was wrong. It was very wrong. It shouldn't have hurt like that. So I called and I left a message with the Hematology Oncology Center on base, and I said on the call, I need an ultrasound done. I want peace of mind that it's actually gone. I feel like something is wrong. The next day, the very next day, I got a call from the chief of the department, and he was such a kind man. He scheduled an ultrasound that same day. Within 2 hours, I had an ultrasound, and they immediately found that the blood clot was still there, unfortunately. So I am currently still on blood thinners, and I'll have follow-up ultrasound within the next couple of weeks. And if I had done nothing, if I didn't follow my gut instincts, I knew that something was wrong. I mean, something could have gone terribly wrong. If it would have broken, I could have lost my life had I not gone in to advocate for myself. So I really wish that I would have stuck to my guns with the first doctor and demanded for those tests. I knew I needed those tests done, and he made me feel like I was silly to ask for it. So listeners, listen to your gut, and if you know that you need a test done, an appointment scheduled, a referral made, you stick to it. Don't let any person, even a doctor, feel like you're silly for asking for those things. And if you aren't comfortable with your current primary care manager, there is a way to change that. So I'll put a link in the comments so that you can change your primary care manager. It takes about a week to complete. And that's if you're feeling just very uncomfortable with that person or they're not listening to you. If you don't want to deal with primary care managers at all, think about switching to TRICARE Select. This plan really allows you to have more freedoms in who you see without a massive cost. It's going to cost a little something compared to TRICARE Prime, but it might be worth it if you just want the certainty of picking your own doctors. So this link will also be in the comment section. And the easiest thing for me when I was figuring out primary care manager, how all this crazy TRICARE stuff worked, it was just to call the regional phone number. So whether you're west or east, and yes, I did report that doctor. Whether you're west or east, just call and figure out how to connect with someone. If you don't know where you are on the map, there is a map in that enrolling link, and there's kind of a good way to show that. And another great tool that I found was a couple of apps that I downloaded. One is called Humana Military. I can try to pull that up. So these are the two. Ooh, a little crazy. So TRICARE West and Humana Military are two really good apps for healthcare with TRICARE. And let's see. So with the Humana, it shows all of my appointments. It showed if I had gone outside of my primary care manager, if I had to pay anything, I can pay it on the app. It showed me how to get in contact with people. It showed me where different facilities were. And this is mostly for TRICARE East. If you're trying to find a place, the Humana Military is mostly for TRICARE East. But there is the TRICARE West app, and it's great for finding urgent care clinics, health providers, military treatment facilities. So all of this to say, the moral of this whole story is to share the importance of advocating for your body, your rights, and your life, especially if you aren't familiar with TRICARE. So make sure you're set up with your primary care manager, which I wasn't. Change your doctor if he or she is not helping you, and know that there are resources out there. So if you have any other tips, if you have resources that just make this weird TRICARE and MilSpouse world a little bit easier, please comment in the Facebook post. And this Facebook Live will be converted into a podcast. There will be a link in the show notes to this Facebook post for you to watch the video or leave a comment. Y'all know your body's best and need to stand up for the care that you need. No doctor or health professional should make you feel small and not heard. Educate, encourage, and empower. This is your AWN Command Team.